Most estate agency owners think they have a staff problem. They think their team isn't proactive enough, doesn't take responsibility, keeps making mistakes, needs constant chasing. But here's a really uncomfortable truth. You don't have a staff problem. You've built a business that can't function without you. Everything runs through you. Every decision, every problem, every escalation. And over time, you've trained your team to rely on you. Video number 5. This one is called Bottleneck. And this is the first take. Most estate agency owners think they have a staff problem. They think their team isn't proactive enough, doesn't take responsibility, keeps making mistakes, needs constant chasing. But here's a really uncomfortable truth. You don't have a staff problem. You've built a business that can't function without you. Everything runs through you. Every decision, every problem, every escalation. And over time, you've trained your team to rely on you. You're the person everyone goes to because you've always been the one with all the answers. You know the clients, you know the deals, you know how things should be done. So naturally, everything comes back to you. And I'll be honest, I've been there too. I used to say to my team, "What's my name? Google? I don't know. Go away, find out, and when you found out, come back and let me know." At the time, it felt like I was pushing them to think for themselves. But in reality, I'd created the problem in the first place because there was no clarity, no structure, no consistent way of doing things. So, of course, they kept coming back to me, Muggins here. But here's the problem. That doesn't scale. And it creates a very specific type of business. Busy, reactive, dependent, where nothing really moves unless you're involved. You didn't inherit this business model. You designed it. I was working with a business owner recently and I asked him to do something simple. Write down each person's job role as he understood it. Then I asked each member of the team to do the same, individually. No discussion, just write it down. And when we compared them, not one matched. Not one. The owner had one set of expectations, and the team and his staff a different one. And everyone thought they were doing the right thing. Now that's not a people problem. That's a clarity problem. Most businesses don't have clear roles. They have assumptions. They do it the way Dave does it. They don't have defined processes. They have habits. They don't have structured feedback. They have reactions. And I've seen this play out in really obvious ways. I had a colleague who desperately wanted to be liked. So he let things go and go and go. Small issues, standards slipping, things not being done properly, but he wouldn't address it because he didn't want to upset anyone until eventually it built up and then he'd explode, shouting, frustrated and over the top. And from his point of view, it was completely justified. But from the team's point of view, it was completely inconsistent. One minute he was relaxed and the fun of the party. The next, he was angry and unpredictable. That's not a personality issue. That's a lack of structure. Because when expectations aren't clear, people fill in the gaps themselves. And when there's no consistent feedback, the only feedback they get is when something goes wrong, which is why it ends up feeling like an autopsy instead of a system. If you want to fix this, you don't need better people, you need better structures, clearer job roles with clear procedures so people know what good looks like, KPIs that actually mean something, so your team can tell for themselves if they've had a good day. Morning meetings to set directions and priorities, reviews to coach, not criticise. And over time, the business starts to run without you being at the centre of everything. Let's take a look at mission, vision, and values. Now, don't roll your eyes. Lots of people think this is just about you sticking something on the wall, that corporate nonsense. But used properly, it creates alignment. Because when everybody understands where the business is going and what actually matters, people start pulling in the same direction. And when that happens, everything gets easier. But if there's no clear direction, people pull in all sorts of places, and all of a sudden it feels like herding cats. And this shows up very quickly in recruitment. Everyone says the same thing. We just need better people. But then you look at how they hire. Quick chat, back office, gut feel. And as salespeople, we're terrible for this. We start selling the business, talking, convincing, filling the silence, when actually that's the one time you should be doing less talking and a lot more listening. Because recruitment isn't about convincing somebody to join. It's about understanding if they're a good fit. Do they align with how you work? Do they buy into what you're building? Do they match the standards that you expect? Because getting the right people on the bus changes everything. But only if your direction is clear. Otherwise, you're just hiring more people to add to the confusion. My son went off to work for Raymond Blanc, who has his 2 Michelin star restaurant. And on his first day, he didn't sit down with a contract or a manual. Raymond took him for a walk round the gardens. He showed him all the produce. They spent hours in the greenhouses looking at tomatoes. He explained what they believed in. Now that's induction. That's clarity. That's culture. So what does your induction look like? Most business owners think they have staffing issues. But what they actually have is a business that hasn't been designed properly. No clarity, no structure, and no consistency. So of course, everything falls back onto them. If everything in your business still runs through you, that's not because your team isn't good enough. It's because the business hasn't been built to run without you. And once you fix that, everything changes. You're not going,